Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Well, hello there, Rob. Hello. And can you believe it? It's already the last weekend of June. I don't understand what is happening with this year.
Oh, it is gone and flying by so fast. We had beautiful, well, to me, I don't care. I'll take the warmth. I'll take the humidity any day of the week than rain and then coolness, cool weather, or anything like that. But I know we've had some heat wave this past week. And it is crazy. The end of June, the first half of the year is over with. We have 2 months of summer left, which is 8 weeks. And if you packed your summer already with different things that are happening, it's going to go by. It's going to go by fast. I hate that. That's why I think I don't know what happened to my parents when they wanted to immigrate to Ontario, Canada. Why didn't they choose someplace like Florida when they came here or something, like why Ontario? That's it, it is I mean, we really only get, how many months really decent weather we get? Maybe 4 months.
Well, yeah, and especially this year because the spring, at first we got this kind of boost of spring, like it was really happening, and then it went away. We didn't really get spring. Summer's had a slow start too, and then boom, we get this heat in the last week. I'm with you, Rob. I'll take that, but really, sometimes you can get some nice weather from March all the way into November, and then other years like this year, it's more of a crapshoot.
Oh, I know. So, but. And the spring, actually, summer just started about maybe this past week. Like summer should have started like 6 weeks ago, or at least the 1st of June. But anyway, and
we need a refund. Is there any refund on this spring and summer? We need one.
That's why, you know what? I get it. Why the older population, I hope I'm saying that right. I guess the 60 plus crowd,
the more experienced,
right? They're so sick of the weather. That's why they're going to Florida for 6 months or 5 months. They say, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. And that's why a lot of them, they call them snowbirds. They don't want to deal with this crappy weather. And another way to combat the winter, to make the winters shorter, is if you do take 2-3 vacations through the winter, it breaks up the winter for you, if you can. But yeah, I'm not a big fan. I definitely want to, eventually, go someplace outside of Ontario for at least a month, here and there to see if that works in my schedule, because I'll probably be doing this business because I love this business for probably at least another 20 years. So people that are listening, I'll be around as long as as Stephanie's around.
Yeah, you got it. I know both of us are people who want to complain and say like we can't work, but both of us, I think, are pretty addicted to it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Gotcha. Well, you're younger than I am, so I think we'll retire maybe at the same time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of your work life, Rob, what has been happening in real estate in this last week of June?
So a lot of things have been happening. The one thing is I'm finding that the inventory levels are climbing. And it's surprising that just houses are sitting on the market, and it is such a price sensitive market, and our market in Niagara, inventory levels wise, is huge. Buyers, your opportunity is happening right now as we speak. In Welland right now, there's 425 listings currently active, which is a lot for a city like Welland. Niagara Falls, 619 listings, homes for sale right now. And St. Catharines, 560. Notice Niagara Falls is it's a smaller city than St. Catharines, but they've got more listings. So it makes it I don't know what's going on. Houses are sitting. Even if they're priced right, now you just got to wait and wait and wait. So we're telling people right now, listen, if you price your house at this number, it may take time to sell, but you just got to sit and wait. Now, if you want the higher number, which is unrealistic number, you're going to wait for sure, and then you're going to drop your price, and then you're going to wait again even longer. So it is a waiting game to find out when the market's going to start coming through, and you got to wait for that one buyer that comes into the marketplace and say, hey, I think this is the right street, the right area. My family lives nearby, and then that's when you get a buyer to come in to buy your house. And hopefully you got somebody strong enough that can negotiate on your behalf so that you don't have to lose on the negotiations. But the inventory is crazy, and it's just you know what? Again, we talked this over and over that people are sitting waiting to buy, and sellers are their expectations are like pandemic expectations, which is not happening. It's funny how our memory works. People only remember the good things. They never remember the bad things. It's like everybody remembers the price of the house down the street, which they think it happened 6 months ago. Meanwhile, it was 3 years ago. It's like that's how time flies by. That's how it goes. And but when and that's the price they have stuck in their mind. And when you show them on a computer, say, well, that was about 2.5, 3 years ago. And he goes, well, prices should have gone up even higher since then. Well, no, we've had a correction that's happened during the last 2.5 years. But yeah, definitely, it's causing inventory levels. It's a lot of people are having a tough time out there, and some people have to desperately sell, and they're still. And even though they're pricing it and dropping their prices, still not selling. So it's a crazy market.
Yeah, it's really weird. That memory thing, Rob, I think if our memories actually did work, none of us would eat too much or drink too much, right? Because the first time we did it, we'd go, oh, this is so uncomfortable. I never want to do this again.
Yeah.
You're right. The bad stuff gets erased so quickly. Okay, so what would your argument be for those buyers? Like you're saying, the buyers are kind of sitting around, they're waiting a little bit. They're probably waiting on those Bank of Canada interest rates. What would be the argument to actually step in and see what this market has?
I would step in because I think you can negotiate a decent deal, but if you want to wait, that's fine. But inventory levels are good for the buyers right now, and if it's the right house and everything, go for it. But yeah, and the sellers out there, you got to price it right on the nose. Don't overprice it. I mean, you got to look at it. It's almost, we call it a precision pricing now. So I'm going through all our listings and I'm doing a precision pricing report card on every one of our listings. And it takes me this is our inventory that we have for sale right now. So it takes me probably about 15 minutes to do a full updated evaluation on the listings that we currently have. So I'll work on maybe 4 or 5 every day, and just to see where we're at with the current listings that we have, because markets have changed. Since we've listed sometimes some of the houses that we listed 120 days ago versus today. And so we're doing a report card for every listing as we go on. And I'll usually do about 4 or 5 a day because it does take time. It does, you got it, and we call it precision pricing, and then we'll send it. I'll put my remarks on it in regards to what's going on. And just one I did that I remember I did yesterday. The price of the house was pretty close to accurate, but it needed a little bit of an adjustment on price. But the problem there was I think about 20 homes in the area that were for sale within that price point. And it's that's where it becomes difficult. And so you either sit and wait, or you price it competitively, depending on the condition of your house. And depending on what you have in there, that will draw people to that price. Because, like I said, buyers know the pricing of homes better than any seller and realtor out there, because they're the ones with the money that they're buying and selling, basically.
Yeah, and when you're doing that overview, the really looking at it and analyzing, what kinds of things are you taking into consideration, Rob?
Like the market conditions. See, how many months of inventory that we have, and then we look at other sales that happen. And you have to be careful how far back you go on looking at other sales. So you have to look at the market. Let's say we're looking at a comparable home that's very similar that sold maybe in February, March of this year, and now we're in the June market coming into July. I have to figure out, okay, I got to analyze that house that sold in February, March to see what the market was like. So now, and that makes my work harder. And then I look at it now because the closest comparable was February, March on that same house. And then I have to figure out, okay, did the market go up? Did it go down? So I have to use a graphic chart to see where it's at. And once I find that out, then I can almost find the precision pricing. But it's almost like we call it precision prices, like almost doing surgery. You got to make it trying to get accurate as possible. And basically what it is I'm trying to figure out what a willing buyer is willing to pay. I'm trying to figure out what the consumer out there is thinking, and I'm estimating. I think the consumer will pay this much, but the consumer themselves, they may say, hey, no, I'm not going to pay that much. And it could be lower, it could be higher. It just depends. But I have to figure out what a consumer is willing to pay for a house that we list. And it becomes a tough task to do.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it. Okay, what about, I know, you talked a little bit last week about, some of the different things that sellers could do maybe to have the house stick out at this point. What about a home inspection? If I'm a seller, should I get a home inspection done? And then if I'm a buyer, would I trust a home inspector that's done by a seller?
So that's a great question. So a home inspector a seller may do a home inspection, right? And he can actually pass that down to the buyer. But if a seller does a home inspection, he should only really do it for himself. If like a lot of times when the market's really fast paced, really going, it's actually sometimes good to get a home inspection done so that when people are looking at the house and they're going to compete against offers, they got a home inspection to look at to decide whether they want to put an offer in or not. And usually those home inspections that the seller gets, that the house is in good shape, right? So there's no issues. The ones that the houses are not in good shape and they got problems, they don't do home inspections. So basically, buyer beware. When you're putting an offer in with no home inspection, you're going to end up with the problems that the seller has. So that's during competition. But there's one incident here that Phil Golfi, my son on my team, he had a buyer, and the seller had a home inspection, and so he was pushing the home inspection onto us, but Phil said, no, we'd like to do our own home inspection, right? And they were saying, why you want to do your own home inspection? So you got to be very, very careful of that. So this is Phil, what he wrote to me. He goes, I just had a deal fall apart on a property. It was in Grimsby that highlights this is an important lesson for buyers. The sellers provided their own pre-listing home inspection, but I strongly advise my buyer to conduct an independent inspection. Okay. So the buyer, and the difference between the two reports was shocking. See what I'm saying? Shocking.
Wow.
Our inspector uncovered that structural support beams in the basement had been cut and compromised and were no longer providing proper support, as well as the presence of an outdated knob and tube wiring. Both major issues were completely missing from the seller's inspection report. It's a perfect example of why buyers should never rely solely on a seller's property home inspection. And absolutely never, always get your own home inspection. It's $400 to $500. Get it. And it's good to walk through with the inspector about it. Some inspectors don't like it, but when you're hiring a home inspector, ask him, listen, I want to walk through the home inspection with you. So you get to know the house as he's going through the house, and he doesn't even have to he can send you the report after, but at least everything, the key components of a furnace, the attic, to check out the attic. He checks everything out, and you should walk through with him. And that's a 3 to 4 hour, experience to go through, and you'll learn about the house. And I've got stories to tell you about inspections like you would not believe. And I know we're coming up to our break, but we'll continue right after I guess the break.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to hear more. This is such a great topic. So let's dig deep into this one here on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Rob Golfi is with us today. Stick around. We'll have more Golfi Real Estate Show next on 610 CKTV, Niagara's News and Talk.
I know the importance of hiring the best agents.
I'll take a photo of your house and post it on the World Wide Web.
Next,
our multi-million-dollar marketing system reaches tens of thousands of potential home buyers every day.
Go to robgolfi.com and put the best team to work for you.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and this is Rob Golfi with us today. And Rob, just before the break, we were digging into home inspections and the idea that sometimes sellers try to provide home inspections and maybe we don't want to rely on them. You know, one of the things that you said, Rob, is, you know, they're like $400, $500. And I always find it strange, you know, when people are about to invest a lot of money, right? $500,000 is probably what we're talking about to start when it comes to homes right now. That $400 or $500 is, you know, they're almost not willing to spend that much money, right? It's like, okay, now we're looking to save money, when in reality, the home inspection is going to save you so much in the long term. If you just spend $400 or $500 to find out that this thing's a complete lemon, that's a deal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Home inspections, sometimes it's good. It can find, especially structural problems. I'll give you a story. And realtors are sometimes pretty bad about this, is because realtors, they feel they know the house pretty good, so they want to save the money on the inspection because they've gone through thousands of houses or whatever, hundreds of houses, and sometimes they won't get a home inspection. So I had this one realtor, and he's a veteran realtor. He's a lot older than I am, and he's been around in the business for many, many years. And he bought this house. It was in I think it was on the border of it was actually in Beamsville on Durand Street or something like that. And a beautiful house, century home, a lot of character, nice piece of property, you know, probably on, you know, at least close to an acre. And when he bought it, I guess after he moved in, he realized there's the one corner of the foundation had some structural issues. So he had to dig it up and redo it. I think it was like a $10,000 expense that he didn't anticipate when he purchased the house. Now, probably if he did a home inspection, he would have probably found that out and probably, you know, could have adjusted the price or who knows, whatever in regards to that foundation problem. Now, a lot of home inspectors miss things, and they can't see what's behind the walls. That's the one thing. So you got to find signals on there. Sometimes they have mold machines that they can detect if there's mold, but it could be, you know, somebody could just have did their carpets and cleaned, cleaned their carpets, and moisture will show up. So you have to be very careful on those machines. But a lot of things you have to be careful, especially behind the walls. They don't know what's behind the walls. Even though they got equipment, they don't know. The key factors is you got those home inspectors should be going into the attic and checking it out. Lifting up if there's insulation in there. See if there's, vermiculite insulation in there, because that costs a lot of money to take out, because every time the government, when they have these programs, hey, we'll give you tax rebates, or we pay for your insulation install. Guess what? It's always the wrong insulation. And 10 years later, you're paying money to get rid of it because they, who knows what program they had. But I know inspectors, they do miss things. But make sure you get a good inspector. Look up the ratings on the Google. Usually realtors give about three inspectors, and most realtors, if they do give three inspectors, they're usually experienced inspectors. Other ones that you see out there, I know inspectors, they have to start somehow, but find out what their criteria is. The worst
is there a regulation, Rob? Like, is there an Ontario body that is regulating inspectors, or is it just, handymen putting up a shingle type thing?
That's it. And
okay.
And they should have something. I remember one home inspection. It was in probably about 20 years ago. I couldn't believe it. So I showed up for the inspection for the buyer. I think I represented the seller on this deal. And the agent wasn't showing up. So I went there, and you're not going to believe this home inspection. He shows up with a clipboard, and he walks around, and he looks at the windows. Check. Okay, they look okay. And he looks at the furnace. The furnace was cleaned pretty good, but he didn't check the inside. He goes, it looks good, the furnace. Okay, check. I'm telling you, this guy here, I mean, it was probably the cheapest home. They probably looked for the cheapest guy, and he just walked in and just give check marks on how everything looked. Shingles, they look okay.
Just sure they had shingles.
Yeah.
They didn't have to.
Yeah, it's like shingles, they look okay, check. I don't even think he went into the attic. Now, this is the buyer's inspector. Remember, I'm representing the seller, and this guy, and I'm following this guy around. I'm going, wow, this is not going to take much time for me to sit and babysit him while going through the house. And literally, it was checkbox and said, yep, looks good. Okay, check. And I'm going, this is a good example of what you don't want from a home inspector. And the one thing about home inspectors is, most of them have a good general knowledge of everything. Now, realtors have a general knowledge. Now, what the home inspector really does is he goes into the attic where a realtor won't climb in there in the attic, or go in the crawl space if it's underneath the house, or check the wiring. I'm not a certified electrician, as either are the home inspectors, but they probably have a general knowledge on the electrical. Sometimes they have these plugs they plug into every outlet to make sure all the outlets are grounded. If the lights, these things that plug in the light, and if it's 3 lights that show up, it's all good. If there's only 1, that means it's not grounded or whatever. Those kind of things. They have all the equipment, all that kind of stuff. That's what you want from a home inspector. But again, from the start of this thing, I would not accept a home inspection from any seller. If you're a buyer, get your own, because who knows what they did. They could have ripped out a couple of pages that has issues with the house, and they're not going to tell you, but they are liable. They are liable. And also, that home inspector that did that inspection, if he eliminated the beams, the support beams on that inspection, he can get sued for that. And so if they did go through and they find out after there's an inspection report and that is missing, the homeowner would be liable, and also the home inspection be liable for that, because they lied, and they lied to purposely deceive somebody in purchasing that property. So now that property, if it's sold and the buyer accepts that home inspection and moves in, they're going to have problems. And I feel sorry for those people that are going to buy that house, because there will be that guy that will accept that home inspection. And it's just going to cause a lot of headaches for them. So they should be very, very careful on that.
Wow. There's just so much in that, Rob. It really, educating people that you really have to dig in. Just because someone says they're a home inspector doesn't mean it's the one for you. So really, really check out and look at that. All right, let's talk about the Niagara Home Ownership Program. This is good stuff for people who are dreaming of home ownership, but maybe feel like they're not going to be able to get there. It is for those with low to moderate income households in Niagara. How does it work, Rob?
So this is a great program. There was one in Hamilton years ago. They literally gave you the down payment to buy a house. There's all these qualifications. And if you own the house for 20 years, you got to keep the down payment. Not a bad gig. Like if you this was in Hamilton, and if you did buy a house, I would just say keep the house, and then if you're planning on move in 10 years, but keep that house, and then buy another house. But they don't. But 20 years. But there's a Niagara program. But now I think they've maxed out on the Niagara program. It kicks in gear every. Into the new year. So right now it says housing services no longer accepting applications for 2025. Be ready for the 2026. So the home ownership program, it says, makes home ownership a reality for low, moderate income households in Niagara. Eases the demand for rental housing by helping renter households buy affordable houses. So what they're doing, it offers a down payment, help for the buyers through 10% interest-free loan up to 60. They can purchase up to $66,774.80. Encourage developers to build affordable housing. That's what they want. Now, it says, now the eligibility for down payment loan, a buyer must be a Canadian citizen, landed immigrant, or have refugee claimant status with no outstanding removal orders, be a current resident of Niagara, be 18 years of age or older, not own or have an interest in other residential properties, or owe arrears to a government-assisted affordable housing provider or housing service. They want renters to start buying, right? Be a renter household or a first-time home buyer. Applicants, another sale. There you
it's
go.
Always busy at Golfi
Another
headquarters.
sale. So it says, be a renter. Say applicants paying room and board or living with a family or friends do not qualify as a renter household. Applicants cannot have ever owned or had an ownership interest in a home anywhere. So they're trying to help out first-time buyers. Now, they must have a gross annual household income below $95,000. So if they go to their bank, if they go to their work and say, hey, listen, I'm making $96,000. Can you drop me down to 94 so I can buy this house? That's what I would do. I need that 10% mortgage. So if you're making 90,
give me back that 1,000 after this.
Yeah, if you're making 95,000 or 96,000, tell your employer to drop me down so I could get this application in. So for one person household and below 113,000 total income for household with more than one person. Now they must have personal. Now this is what I don't get. Have personal assets below 50,000, which include RRSPs and any gifting amounts from family or friends. You know what? Listen, this is to help people. Like they still have to have money. You know what I mean? In Hamilton, you didn't have to have any of that. They didn't have this. So they're making it tougher and tougher. So qualify for a mortgage through a recognized financial institution and provide proof. Provide a full executed agreement of purchase and sale within 60 days of receipt of this conditional letter of commitment. So once you apply to them, they'll give you a letter of commitment. Then you got to go race out and buy a house. Now, cover all costs associated with finalizing the purchase of the home and provide proof they are able to do so. So basically, they're saying make sure you can provide the lawyer, legal fees, disbursements, and probably land transfer tax. So you probably need about $7,000 to $10,000 to close this deal. So if you can come up with $10,000, and if you got some RSPs under $50,000, so basically assets below 50. So you can have assets of $5,000, I guess that's fine. So cover costs. So you need about $10,000 probably to close this deal. Now, equitability for homes. Homes must be located in Niagara. A home inspection is required for the resale homes. So basically, if you're buying a resale home, you need a home inspection. And encouraged for new homes. Inspections are paid by the buyer. Purchase price cannot be more than $667,748. I don't know why they didn't just go round number. The maximum purchase price can change based on updates from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Maybe detached, semi-detached, row, townhouse, duplex, or condominium. Must be modest in size and features. Cannot be a home in which the buyer or any member of the buyer's family has an ownership interest. So they can't buy, I don't think they can buy a family house or something like that.
Yeah, can't go in, mom and dad are going to downsize.
Yeah.
You can't buy mom's house.
But it's not a bad deal. It's worth checking it out. I think if you just Google Niagara Home Ownership Program, it'll come up, or Welcome Home Niagara Home Ownership Program. Guys, get ready for this. If you know somebody that has been trying to save, it's tough because they're spending money on rent, the cost of living, and everything else. Get them. Send them this, tell them to get their income tax in order, up to date. This is the time to do it, so that when the program starts up again in 2026, they can actually apply and get accepted for it, and it'll be good. It's 10% of they're giving 10% of the thing. Now, it is a interest-free loan. So when down the road, when you sell the house, it goes back to the government.
Right.
Not a bad deal.
No.
It doesn't say here that they forgive the loan after so many years, and that's what they did in Hamilton. I don't think they do that anymore, but a good program. Check it out. It is worth it to look into.
Yeah. And then once you get that all organized, you can work with the Golfi team because you got a short amount of time to get a home. So you're going to want to have your realtor in place. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
This is the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. Rob Golfi is with us today from the #1 REMAX team in Canada. Rob, sticking around. We will be right back here. And we're going to talk about what happens when the marriage doesn't work and you want to stay in the house. This is 610 CKTB, Niagara's News and Talk.
Are you worried about selling your home on time and for the most money? Hi, I'm Rob Golfi. Every year we invest millions of dollars in our advanced marketing system, ensuring your home is seen by tens of thousands of potential buyers. We don't just hope it sells, we make it sell.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. Rob Golfi is with us from the Golfi Real Estate team. And Rob, I don't know why, this is like one of the aspects of your profession that always interests me. And unfortunately, it's a big reality. Divorce happens, right? And so, we're talking about the markets and how things are just kind of weird right now, but divorces are still going to happen. Real estate decisions are going to have to be made. I guess it's one of the guarantees of being in real estate that aspect is going to be around for you.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? A lot of people don't know this, but right now, as affordability declines, with divorcing couples are increasingly choosing spousal buyouts over selling their matrimonial homes. And now a spousal buyout allows one partner to pay the other for their share of the equity in the home and take full ownership. Now, for example, if a home is worth $600,000 with a $200,000 mortgage, the equity is $400,000. One partner would have to pay $200,000 to the other to buy the other one out. So now the mortgage on that house is going to be $400,000 with $200,000 equity. Now, why it's popular now, selling and trying to buy back into the same market is often unrealistic or unaffordable, and it is happening. Couples that are divorcing right now, a lot of times what's happening is they're selling the house, they're taking their money, and they can't afford to go on their own with the house because they don't have enough down payment or whatever. So the buyer must qualify for a new mortgage on their own and cover all associated debt, including their ex's share of the equity. Now, spousal buyout mortgages, which is available through CMHC, allow up to 95% financing, higher than traditional refinances, which at cap at 80%. Now, a signed legal separation agreement is required to qualify. If both parties are not untitled or are in common law relationship, legal outcomes can vary and may require court involvement. Now, the emotional story: one woman bought out her ex-husband in 2022, and despite the challenges, kept the home and plans to move back in with her new partner. Now, the one thing is, and people don't know this, but when you are separating from your spouse, you need a separation agreement to buy another house. Sometimes people think, oh, we got money in the bank, we got equity in the house, and they haven't even sold their house yet, but they're out taking a realtor and looking at buying another house. Banks will not give you money unless you have a separation agreement, because the banks need to know that if you have to pay spousal support, or you have to pay child support or whatever, even though what you think you're going to have to pay or not pay, they need to know that, so that when you buy a house and qualify, you can afford the house. And sometimes separation agreements take forever to get signed, and it leaves a spouse in limbo, in waiting to find out if they can buy. So a lot of people end up having to rent. Now, we had one situation where a lady right away went out, she put an offer on the house. And when it was ready to close, she couldn't close because her husband wasn't signing the separation agreement. So she ends up losing her deposit and getting sued on top of now. So you got to be careful. Get the separation agreement. Otherwise, you're going to end up being in a heap of a mess if you don't do that. So, but and it is easier. And here's the dilemma that we deal with. And we don't get involved with this. So we usually either we get a call from one spouse. Can you get me a what do you call it, evaluation or a letter of opinion on the house, what it's worth, right?
Right.
So the one that's buying out the partner, they always want a low one. and
Right, of course, yeah.
they want a low letter of pay. Hey, is there any chance? Hey, the house down the street. Now they're bragging about how low the houses are selling for now. Those guys,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now the other spouse that's leaving wants a high value opinion. Oh my God, it's like you can't win. I would try to stay out of this. I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to give you three homes that sold very comparable to your house. Here's a letter of opinion. You guys can figure it out on your own. And you know what I mean?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but you know what it is? And they're going to have to get an appraisal anyway. And just so that everybody's on equal terms on that thing. But if you can afford to buy out your spouse, stay in the house, because it will be a lot harder to buy another house. Now, right now, the way things are and how expensive housing is, it's tough for even one person to afford to buy the house, like to buy the other partner out. It is tough. Most people end up renting, and it becomes a tough situation. But yeah, it becomes ugly sometimes. We have one, and when both spouses have to sign, like we have one, we've had this house for sale, and we've had offers. The one spouse keeps rejecting. And then we just let it go. And then they end up getting another realtor. Nothing happened. Then they come back to us because they saw how good our service was. And we said, guys, listen, we don't want, like, the house is worth less now compared to what it was when we had offers. Like last year, we had you a great offer. You didn't think it was a good offer, and we have less. And this poor lady owned this house with lots of equity. She has a boyfriend that moves in, and he stays there for 2 years. He has zero money in there, zero money in this house. And he's the one that's holding up the sale. And he's the one. And you know what? It's good that she's leaving him. It's going to cost her money, but good. But I feel sorry for the next person that takes him into the house, because he's going to rip you off and mess somebody else's life up. But he was holding back. Because you know why?
Right.
He was living there, and she was paying all the bills.
Right.
So he knew once it's sold, he's going to have to find a place to move. But he's getting quite a bit of the equity of the house anyway, even though he didn't even buy the house originally. None of his money's in there. But he was just freeloading. And so anyway, that's one situation there where spouses are battling, and you need the signature of both. And we've seen where the judge had to sign on behalf of one of the spouses. Because once it gets to court, the lawyers get involved, and then they know that the one spouse is purposely trying not to sell the house because they want to stay there as long as they can. And then the judge,
or they just want to hurt their ex, right? Like a lot of times these arguments it's a control thing, and it's a way to just continue to get back at this person, and you're really hurting yourself because you can't move on.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, if you're moving in with a partner and it's all your money, and they're moving in with you, get a cohabitant agreement. Get it. I'm telling you. I mean, yeah, I know you guys love each other. He's never gonna do that to me. I gotcha. It's all beautiful. It's roses and hearts and everything else like that. And then all of a sudden they become this evil person after you move in with them, and then now you have to give them everything. Get a cohabitant agreement. Simple. You're moving in. You get zero rights to any of my equity. You're paying rent to live with me, and that's it. So, I'm telling you, you got to be careful. If the spouse is moving in with you and they got nothing, they bring in nothing. They should leave with nothing. And you know what I mean? Like, just have them pay, the expenses of living there. I mean, it's, but be very, very careful. And then, if they move in, just make sure you have something in writing so that they don't have rights over you. That's all.
Is that something that your team would advise on, Rob? You mentioned there that people will call you for this opinion, and then one of them's going to just stay in the house. So basically, they wouldn't need a realtor services in that. Do you charge for that? Like how does that all work?
Yeah, like, you know what, like like you don't want to pry into somebody's business, right? Like if somebody, like you say, hey, listen, I see this guy that you're in love with, he's moving in with you. It's like, listen, if I were you, I make him sign something. And then, she may look at that and say, what the hell is this guy telling me about? Right. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, but if somebody asks me, and sometimes people will say, hey, listen, talk to Rob Golfi. He's like, he's dealt with a lot of different situations. He will give you the right path, which way to go, or talk to the right person to help you out in that situation. And, but yeah, you got to be very, very careful on when, especially your equity, and I'll give you a perfect example. So I had a girl on my team. She worked for me, right? And she was a realtor. She met some guy in the States, they fell in love and all this kind of stuff. And she said, she was on my team, young lady, and she's going to sell her she had 3 properties, the house she lived in and 2 other rentals.
Good for her.
She was this girl on her future was going great. And and she goes, Rob, what do you think I should do? I go, don't sell them, keep them. I says, you're moving in with this guy, sell him after, get a feel of, the marriage. I says, and so, obviously nobody takes somebody else's advice. So she sold all 3 properties.
No.
She moved to this remote area, I don't know where in the US, where housing prices don't change for decades. So whatever money she had, and which was a decent amount, they put an addition on the house that he had in the States.
Yep.
Okay. Well, guess what? 2 years later, she comes back with 0 money. And disappointed. You know what she said? She came back on my team to work for me, and she said, Rob, I should have listened to you. She goes, I really regret not listening to you. She goes, you told me do not sell, just move and get the feel of the lay of the land and get the feel of being married and going from there. And so she lost everything. She has to rebuild. And guess what? Can you imagine rebuilding in a higher market than what she had? She bought these houses. She bought these houses when they were like $200,000-$300,000, right?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So people. Can I say people? I remember Don Cherry said that word. He did.
Yeah,
He got in trouble off the air. He got fired. He got fired. But anyway, what I want to say is if you know somebody, if you have a child, friend, or whatever, get a cohabitant agreement if you own the house and they're not coming in with something. Just that's all. Just protect. You got to protect what's yours forever, because it takes forever to rebuild that. You could have a house that's worth $800,000 today, and it's half paid for, and it's $400,000. Now somebody moves in with you. Guess what? That $400,000 equity, let's say it doubles in 10 years, right? And it goes to $800,000. It's $1.6 million. Guess you're going to have to pay what, $500,000 to this guy, and you're going, wait a minute, I had $400,000 when I started. Now I got $500,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
10 years later, and you're in trouble. So protect your equity. Protect your equity. Get in writing, and again, with the spousal. Get the separation agreement before you even start looking, so then you know what you qualify for, because the banks will not give you the money, and you don't want to get sued by putting an offer in, and then you find out you can't even close the deal.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people don't know, and you're hopefully not going through divorce too many times in your life. So you're gonna learn as you go there. Also, Rob, I would mention to that woman on your team, she could have just got the Golfi, your home program that you help people manage their rental properties, your rental property program.
Yeah. And
the Golfi rental program.
Actually, we got a guy right now. He's moving to North Carolina, and he's not sure whether he wants to sell or buy, but right now we're going to be managing his property starting in September, and because he's moving sometime in August, we'll put a tenant in there for him. We'll make sure they qualify. We do the credit checks. We'll verify if they've ever been through landlord tenant board with any claims against them. And we'll verify where their employment is, make sure there's no fake IDs on there, and we'll do that for them. Anybody that's moving away, a lot of times they will get a property management company like ourselves to manage the property. We had somebody that was moving to Dubai. They moved out there, and now they were there for 2-3 years. They came back and they said, hey, we're going to stay there. We're planning on staying there now for good. So then they put the house up for sale. We rented it for them for 2-3 years. And, but now they plan on, they came back just to sell the house, and that's it, you know? So
well, it's a bit of good security, right? Because it's, you know, it's fun to make these plans and make these big changes. And sometimes it's just to try and you want to come back, you know, maybe family's here and situations change, or maybe you like it. But even, you know, as you come back, then you're probably gonna have some more equity in the house. So there's no bad reason to get the Golfi Property Management Company involved.
that's it.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Well, this is, as always, a blast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Rob Golfi from the #1 real estate team in Canada, the Golfi team. Give them a call, 905-641-0308. Online, robgolfi.com. That's GOLFI.com. Thank you so much for being here. You are listening to 610 CKTV, Niagara's News and Talk.